Welcome. We back for another episode of Getting Buckets.
Yo, yo.
Obviously, Brevin's here. Will is here. It's been a couple weeks, man. I had an eye injury in our adult basketball league.
Shaking my
Boy,
head.
boy, I was down for the count for like 2 weeks, y'all. But feeling better. So we back on the pod. This is the day after game one of the NBA finals. So we're obviously gonna talk about the NBA finals
Woo.
along with some other of these basketball topics. But yeah, I'm happy to just be back. Brevin, what's going on?
Nothing much, man. Chilling. Nothing. We got some exciting news that I can't wait to talk about today. So I'm feeling pretty great. Yeah, man. Shoot. It's been a lot going on in the sports world.
Show has NBA, NFL. It's,
Mm-hmm.
it's been a lot,
Been a lot.
but that's what we're here for. We're here to break it down for y'all, man. So make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all hit that
Mm-hmm.
subscribe button. Make sure y'all share. Make sure y'all hitting on all the social media handles: TikTok, Instagram, obviously the YouTube where you're watching this. Make sure y'all tapped in, man. And again, I had an eye injury, so that is why I'm wearing the glasses. For y'all wondering. So yeah. But other than that, we're gonna get right on into these NBA finals, man. So the Knicks go up and they take a 1 game lead
Oh
and
man.
still game one in San Antonio against the Spurs. When you were watching that game, Brevin, what do you think helped the propel the Knicks to that W?
Man, honestly, I think just the toughness and honestly, Jalen Brunson. Brunson, man, he's so good.
So
Like,
good.
and he's taking it to the next level. And I know a lot of people at times was like, because I think I fell victim to that, being like, okay, I think they need a number one option. I think he has proven everybody that he is solid. Like he is a solid point guard. He is a solid playmaker. He is a solid scorer. Like, bro is just putting it on the floor and getting to his spots. And then on top of that, like he's a knockdown 3-point shooter. But even though I praise Jalen Brunson for leading that team, I got to give it to Karl Anthony Towns, man. I got to give it to him. I think he surprised me. I still think he can take it to another level. But bro, he surprised me, man. He was on the rebounds. He was in the paint a few times that I seen. I loved what Karl Anthony Towns was able to do, and I don't think the team goes with just Jalen Brunson's production. I feel like if Jalen is the only one producing, it's going to be tough. He can't do it all by himself. So I think Cat being able to produce helps a lot. And then the role players just know how to play their parts, man. I thought it was a great win, especially it was a little scary in the beginning. It was a little scary. We thought the Spurs was about to run away, and they said, nah, it's go time. It was interesting. It was interesting to see.
Yeah, man, that was a fantastic game. You mentioned Jalen Brunson. I'm gonna get back to Jalen Brunson, but that point you made on Karl Anthony Towns, he was fantastic. And more importantly than anything he did offensively, did you see how he was guarding Wimby?
Yes, bro. Like I said, I didn't think he could. I thought Wimby was about to be running circles around him. I ain't gonna lie. I thought Wimby was gonna be putting it on the floor. He wasn't gonna be tough enough for him. But man, he took a point to be like nah, youngster, I've been here. Like, and I think that was great. And that's what scared me about Wimby. I mean, like Wemby's great, but I don't want him to. I didn't want him to feel like last series was his championship. I didn't want his goal to beat the OKC Thunder. I want his goal to win the championship. You know. So we're gonna see how he bounced back. But Karl Anthony Towns, man, he did that. He did that. Nah, I gotta tip my hat off to him. I gotta give him his flowers.
Yeah, him and Mitchell Robinson on the defensive end were fantastic
Mm-hmm.
last night. And I think and they what I think is the difference between the OKC bigs the the Knicks bigs is that these guys, I think they're both more athletic than Hartenstein and Chet, both Mitchell Robinson and Cat.
Oh,
And so they don't
absolutely.
and so all they did was they stayed disciplined because as much as people want to talk about SGA flopping and all that stuff, when Wibby gets in the post and he tries to back somebody down, he do a lot of flailing and a lot of throwing his
Mm-hmm.
body around because he's not the strongest dude in the world. And what they said, and what was fantastic about what the Knicks did in game one was that they didn't fall for it. They didn't try to like swipe down.
Right.
They didn't try to. They just stood there, hands up, let him shoot whatever deep shot he wanted to shoot. That was fine. But they didn't allow him to dominate in the paint, and that's where the Spurs' advantage is, because once he gets to the paint, at that point it's like you can't do anything with him because he's gonna pretty much grab every rebound because he can kind of just reach above everybody and then he's gonna put it back even if he happens to miss, and he's shooting 95% down there before a miss even happens. And so I
Yeah.
think they were fantastic defensively. And Jalen Brunson, when we get to Jalen Brunson, I've always felt Jalen Brunson was a 1A scorer. These last, you can't win like when you have a clutch gene like that. Like when he won Clutch Player of the Year, what, 2 years ago? Like when you
Mhm.
have a clutch gene like that, you are a 1A player. When you have the production that goes with his clutchness.
Mhm.
When you average those high 20s and you're clutch, you are a 1A player because at the end of games they have a guy they need to get to. And yes, I think people fall into the habit of just that he's small, so they're like, "Oh, a small guard can't win." And while for like the majority of history that's true, because the only two small guards that have won championships as the head guy is Steph Curry and Isaiah Thomas.
Mhm.
So I understand that from a historical perspective, but that's what makes what Steph Curry did so special. That's what makes what Isaiah Thomas did so special. And I think Jalen Brunson, right now, he's 3 games away from joining that elite class and etching his name into history. But although he's what, 6'1", maybe 6'2", whatever it is that he's actually is, there's a reason they call him Big Body Brunson. He ain't little. He's short, but he ain't little. So like, no matter who you put on him, you put Steph Castle on him, he's wider and he's stronger than Steph Castle. You put De'Aaron Fox on him, he's much stronger than De'Aaron Fox. So it's like he has an advantage at all times, and his footwork is impeccable. And what I love about him, and I mentioned his clutchness. Do you know what he shot from the field last night?
Nope. Tell me.
He shot 11 of 31.
Mm.
It took him 31 shots to get 30 points. Despite all that, in the fourth quarter, he got busy. He
Did
had I want to say he scored 13 point. I want to say it's 13, but it's around there, 13, 15, somewhere around there in the fourth quarter. And that's despite him being, 11 for 31 for the entire course of the game.
Mhm.
And so that speaks to, so for him to be that cold all night, to be able to close the game in which he did, that's what speaks volumes. And that's what people need to realize. And that's what I always talk about when it comes to when people say like, oh, this guy didn't play great or whatnot. Like if we take it to football, there's plenty of games where Tom Brady did not have the greatest football game, but the rest
let
of his
that
team
in.
kept. But here's the thing: at the end, he was able to get it done. But why was he
Yeah.
able to get it done? Because the defense kept him in the game.
Mhm.
So it's like it's a full team game. What happened was OG Ananobi got going, Cat got going, Shamit was big off the bench. McCall Bridges made shots when he needed to, and so they were able to steady the course, and they stayed in that game until the fourth quarter needed to be won, and Jalen Brunson said, "All right, forget what happened in these first 3 quarters. I got us now. Y'all had my back for the first 3, and I got us in the fourth."
Yeah.
And so, man, I can't say enough about what Jalen Brunson did, man. That was fantastic. That was fantastic basketball. What Josh Hart did, and like Josh Hart is a guy like much of what he does is not going to go on the stat sheet. Although last night he had like 14 rebounds or whatever, and like another
Yeah.
4 steals, but it's not going to show up in that stat box of points that everybody's going to immediately go and jump to and look at. But man,
Mhm.
they play fantastic basketball, bro.
Yeah,
And I
man.
got to give kudos to them New York Knicks. I picked
Absolutely.
the Spurs in 6 in this series, but my heart wants the New York Knicks to win this series.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like New York deserves it. Wendy's gonna have his opportunity. I feel like the Knicks in New York has been they've been knocking at the door for a very long time. And I think this is especially like I mean, there's very few who predicted them to come this far. And I feel like they've been able to at every step show why they deserve to be there. And like you said, I love to see a good series. I'm not rooting for one more than the other, but I think the Knicks, they deserve it. If they go get it, they deserve it for sure.
Yeah, the Knicks are they've done everything they needed to put themselves, and you could tell like when they're on, like those dudes love hooping with each other, like all the
Hmm.
Villanova boys, like, and that's what I also wanted to mention, like the like you can tell when a team is fully invested because as we mentioned, Cat was out there guarding Wimby and was like,
Hmm.
I'm not giving you anything. When have we ever said that about Karl Anthony Towns on the defensive end of the floor?
Right.
They're locked in from the first man to the 15th man on a bench. And that's what you want to see. That's what makes a good championship caliber team.
Hmm.
Everybody's locked in and everybody's giving just that little extra bit of effort. And that's what I always say when, especially when it comes to the defensive end. I always say some of these guys are not going to be the most talented defensive players, but a lot of defenses is just about want to. Do you want to play defense? Nobody in
Right.
their right mind is going to
That's
call Karl Anthony Towns a defensive stopper, but he wanted to play defense in game one. He wanted to win that game. He wanted to give his team the best chance at winning that game. And the team's best chance at them winning that game was for him to contain Wimby. And Wimby himself shot poorly. I want to look at his actual stat line in terms of his shooting. But Wimby also shot the ball way under 50%, just like Brunson did. But Brunson was able to save it in the fourth quarter. Wimby had a run in the fourth, but then he also had that final turnover that went off of his foot that kind of sealed the deal. Wimby shot 6 of 21 last night. Like
shit.
6 of 21. Like how like and you gotta give majority of that to what Cat did and obviously what Mitchell Robinson did. But
Yep.
and that's how you could see like a team is like ready to take that step in being an NBA champion. Like they're fully invested 1 through 15. Because even the guys you don't expect to be defenders and go out there and hold guys, they give it everything they got. And that's all you could ask for from the guys that are not defensive lockdown players. And what also helps the Knicks is that this team is the GM and the executives, they put together a team that helps the flaws of their superstars.
Yeah.
Jalen Brown, you have a 6'2" guard. So he 9 times out of 10, that guy is gonna have a hard time guarding anybody on the court because even now, a lot of the point guards now are what 6'4" and taller. So just
Mhm.
from that, they're going to be at a disadvantage just height wise. But what do you go out and do? You get OG Anunoby. You go out and get Jose Alvarado, another small guard, but a pest. And going out there, he's going to
Mhm.
get deflections, get steals. But you get McCall Bridges. Obviously, what Josh Hart does. You got Mitchell Robinson off the bench. Landry Shamet has upped his defense over the past year or two to go along with the shooting that he's kind of always provided, and that kind of thing. That entire roster construction has led the Knicks to this point. And now they've won what 12, 13 games in a row. They haven't lost since they were down 2-1 to the Atlanta Hawks in the first round.
Yep. Shit, yep.
They
Crazy.
they obviously so they win game one in the finals. They swept the Sixers, so that's 5 games in a row. They swept the Cavs, that's 9 games, and then they won three straight, so they've won 12 in a row because they won the last three against Atlanta. So it's like they're on a 12-game win streak in the playoffs. Like
It's impressive.
they fantastic basketball.
Impressive.
Very impressive. So, but yeah, man. Obviously, it's only been one game, but man, this is what you want to see. And as a
Yeah.
basketball fan, I want to see 7 games in the finals because it's the last basketball we gonna get in June. Obviously, it's gonna end sometime in June, and we ain't getting basketball back until the mid to end of October.
Yeah. But that's what you want to do. They in a good spot. You at least want one of the games, but to win the first game on the road is you in a good spot.
Yeah, and let's shift to the Spurs side of things. I thought coming into the series they were going to start Wimby on Josh Hart. They didn't do that, so I think that
Mhm.
that is going to be something that they're probably going to maybe shift to a game two, maybe because typically they put Wimby on the weakest defender so he can continue to roam. They put him on Cat in the game one, and I think that was part. Now they held Brunson, and the Knicks only scored 105, so it wasn't like the defense from the Spurs was bad, but
Yeah.
I do think it created a lot more driving room, a lot more ways for guys to get to the mid range, get to the basket because Wimby wasn't always clogging up the paint like he was more so
Mhm.
in that Oklahoma City series because he was on Hartenstein a lot who wasn't leaving the paint, or they put him on Dort who wasn't the most reliable shooter, so they were
Yeah.
fine leaving him open. In game one, they put him on Cat. And so that was not something I expected coming out of the gate. I thought he would have been on Josh Hart. So I think that's something defensively, you might see a change going later into this series. But so that's one thing I noticed. And then two, offensively, they're gonna need De'Aaron Fox to play much better than he played in game one.
Yeah.
He's gotta be the guy to get downhill. Like I understand he's going against Ananobi and Bridges and Hart or whatever, but they gotta find he's gotta find a way. They need more downhill action to help Wimby because Wimby at his heart is not they don't have that's the thing about the Spurs. The Spurs don't have a counter in their offense because they don't have any post players.
Mhm.
So they kind of got to play the same way the whole time. They're kind of hoping Wimby dominates in the paint, and then you have to collapse the paint, and now you got Champagny wide open, and you got Vassell wide open. But they don't have. But if they're having an off shooting night like they had in the second half, they were hot in the first half, and in the second half they kind of went cold, and Wimby wasn't dominating the paint. And when that happens, they don't have anything else to really go to because they don't have a guy that is really like a just a go to scorer.
Right.
Whether it's just give me the ball and get the hell out the way. Wimby might shoot a step back and make it, but Wimby going into his bag, it's like you're kind of you. But if Wimby's shooting that step back, you're living with that with him at 7'5". That's what you want him to take. So they got to find. So they're going to need constant. They're going to need more pressure on that rim, and I think that's going to start with De'Aaron Fox and Steph Castle.
Mhm.
Yeah, what do you see in front of Spurs?
Pretty much same thing. Wemby had a bad game. I felt like he was like everybody expecting Karl Anthony Towns to be a little softer and not put up that much of a fight. And then on top of that, not really expecting what the defense was able to throw at him because he's coming from a team he was able to dominate. He was coming from a smaller line of defenders, a smaller center, a smaller power forward. And now when you get in front of these dudes who got more weight on them, who are a little more athletic and who are technically more defensive than offense, well, speaking Robinson,
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard for you because I mean, I would say Mitchell Robinson's probably a better defender than Hartenstein
Oh yeah.
and Shed. Like, so I feel like
Especially one on one. Chet is good help
especially
side.
one
I
on
don't
one,
believe Chet's a great one on
especially
one
one on
defender.
one. Like, oh, what? Oh, he was getting punished. He was getting punished.
Yeah.
He was getting put in the rim by Wemby.
Yeah.
And that was just something Wemby couldn't do against the defense of the Knicks. And I feel like like you said, once that's not working, once he's not dominating in the paint, it's like, what do we do? You know?
Yeah.
I feel like their offense goes off of Wemby. Like if he's having a good day in the paint, it opens everything up. But when he's not, it's like, oh shit, what do we do? We're gonna shoot. Oh, and then
Yeah.
on top of that, it kills their confidence. Like you said, Fox has to have a better game. Like if you don't have a better game, if you're not pushing the tempo, if you're not being a point guard, if you're not getting into the paint, if you're not beating people off the dribble, then the defense is just gonna get set and they gonna do the same thing that they doing to you and they not gonna be forced to change.
On that point, not to cut you off, but they got a guy on the bench named Dylan Harper. And
Hmm.
Dylan Harper was cooking last night, and he's been
Yeah.
cooking all playoffs. It Dylan, it's gonna come very soon, possibly next year, where De'Aaron Fox, especially with the way he's played, and it's been a lot. He's had a couple of good games, but he hasn't played to up to his standard in these playoffs.
Well, yeah, he gonna be
He
coming off that bench.
not even that. He's gonna be up out of San Antonio.
Hmm.
Because you can't keep with at his contract, and eventually you're gonna have to pay Steph Castle. This is what Steph Castle's second year, so I think there's a team. I think there's a team option after this year, and then after that, he's probably gonna get his rookie max. Dylan Harper is 1 year behind Steph Castle, so it'll be the year after that he'll get his rookie max. So it's like those guys are gonna get their rookie maxes with
Hmm.
what they've shown so far. And this again, Dylan Harper is just a rookie, and obviously Wimby uh, got his contract. But yeah, like you got to play better, bro. There's a guy coming off the bench that is, 7, 8 years younger than you that's playing better than
Mhm.
you. Why would we pay you the 30? I don't know what he's making. He's probably making 35, 40 a year. Why would we pay
Mhm.
you that when we got him on a rookie contract right now and we're eventually gonna have to pay him? Now we're gonna trade you, go get some more assets because you ain't working. You ain't worth this.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, and it's just smart business. It's like,
yeah.
why would we why do we need you if we got somebody who can produce even better numbers and he costs less, you know?
Yep.
So yeah, but that's what I saw about the Spurs. Honestly, I feel like it's fixable. I still feel like we have a good series in our midst. I don't think it's gonna be easy on either side unless the Knicks really show us that, like, yeah, they the ones. But
I will yeah,
I feel
I
like
will say,
I would be shocked. I would be shocked if the Spurs don't answer. I'll be
yeah,
shocked.
that's where I was going with. If the Spurs lose game two, this series is over with.
Oh
They
yeah,
not winning.
yeah,
I don't see a scenario where they lose game two and win two games in New York. And if they go down 3-1 to New
yeah.
York,
They're not going to the Garden and winning too. That's
that's what I'm saying. So I
they
don't see a
not going
scenario.
to.
So to me, and because everybody used the term must win, and I feel like every game in the playoffs is a must win. So I really hate that term. But in this case, if they lose this game, I don't see any scenario where they go to New York and beat them two times at the Garden to tie the series. And if you go
Yeah,
down 3-1, I don't believe they're coming back from 3-1 against them boys.
yeah,
Even with two possible games at your house, because if it's 3-1 going into game five's back in San Antonio, then you go to the Garden, then you go back to San Antonio. But still, I don't see you winning three straight games, and they didn't already beat you on your home turf, which they had to win at least one road game in order to win the series. Obviously, being the team that didn't have home court advantage, they've already
mhm,
done that. If they go get a second game and they get to go back home, the Spurs are in deep deep
yeah,
trouble.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely.
Deep, deep trouble. So yeah, they better figure it out. They better figure it out.
But like I said, I expect them to. I expect them to figure it out if they don't. And then this is off Jalen Brunson bad shooting night. Like, whew,
Yeah,
he
that
ain't
was
gonna
off
have
of a
too many of them. He ain't gonna have too many bad shooting nights.
Jalen Brunson bad shooting night and a San Antonio home game. I think
Yeah.
what I think if you're San Antonio, what you're gonna say is okay. We were in that game in the final 2 minutes, and we were in that game despite being cold in the second half and despite Wemby having an off night all night pretty much. But you got to answer. You don't have the luxury of being able to go back to your house for 3 and 4. You're at
Facts.
home now, so
Yep.
you whatever you got to do, you got to play balls to the walls in game two.
Yep.
Game two is an absolute.
Then he
Again,
came
I don't
like
want to
the
say must
back
win,
against
but
the
it's
wall.
but yeah, game two, you got to go get that one. No chance in hell if you lose that game.
Cause yeah, losing two at home, they're gonna have Knicks are gonna have so much momentum. And then on top of that, they're gonna be in the Garden. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's the thing. It's like that's not anybody. Like some teams you can go and play, and it's like yeah, you're on the road, but it's like it ain't rock. The Garden will be jumping. They haven't had an NBA Finals
Jumping.
game since
What?
1999, since before I was born.
What? That
That
stadium about to be so damn loud.
Bro, it's like $5,000 to get into the building. That
That
means
shit
to
about
be
to be
all the way at the
loud
top. It's like $5,000. That month will be jumping.
just to get the nosebleeds.
To be at the tippy top of the stadium, it's like 5,000 to get in. That thing is going to be absolutely jumping. So all that said to say, Wimby, you better put your big boy pants on and come correct the game too.
Yeah.
You've answered the call throughout the rest of these playoffs, but it's the NBA Finals, the biggest stage of basketball.
Got to change it up.
You've got to answer right now. There's no bigger answer than right now, obviously, because like I said, I don't envision any scenario where y'all go to the Garden and win two in a row.
Yeah. That's tough. That's
Obviously,
tough.
and we don't wish that on anything. Like somebody gets nicked, that can if somebody gets nicked and they're out, that can change the course of a series. But the way it currently stands right now, y'all better not lose game two.
Yep.
Y'all better not lose game two. So yeah, man. Who did you have in this series, by the way?
In this series,
Yeah.
um, I think I had the Spurs.
Yeah, I did. I had the Spurs in
I had
six
the
games.
Spurs.
That was
Like, I
off of my
wasn't
basket.
necessarily
That
rooting
was out
for
of my
anybody, but I was
basketball. That was
yeah.
my basketball pick. My heart pick is I want to see the New York Knicks win.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the Knicks win either. I just know New York is gonna be it's gonna be a party all through the city.
Oh, bruh.
But the reason I had the Spurs because I felt like they came off a harder matchup. So I was like, okay, Spurs, they like that was the hardest matchup they was gonna get.
Yeah.
Guess not. We will see.
Hey man, they gonna be in 4 or 5. But here was the
That's
thing too, and you kind of talked about it earlier. Like you don't want them to feel like their Thunder was their plan.
mhm.
Like as much as they want to win a championship, their plan all year as it was like we have to beat the Thunder. That was what
Yep.
was in their mind all year was we have to beat the Thunder. And then it's like obviously we'll worry about the championship later. But that's all they were thinking about all year. And what we came to see, and we're going to talk about in a second. But Wemby also had in his mind that he personally wanted to take the soul of Chet Holmgren, and he
Yep.
accomplished just that because Chet Holmgren went out sad.
God. Can we
Chet
talk about
Holmgren went out with 4 points and 4 rebounds at 7-2 in a game 7 when you're a max player.
Can we talk about Chet?
Oh, well, don't worry, we're talking about it. That was a segue. Chet
Oh
Holmgren,
my
your
God.
two-time MVP, was sitting there looking for some help. I got 30. I brought everything. I brought everything I
Wait,
could possibly do in Game 7.
Will. Let's not mention bro played
Took 2 shots
33 minutes, had 4 points, 2 for 4 from free throws, and bro had 4 rebounds.
at 7-2.
4 rebounds, dog.
Took 2 shots. There's no other way for me to explain it. Bro was scared to like when I tell you when like Wemby literally had bro shook. He was scared to shoot the ball. He drove on Wemby one time and instantly just fell over his feet. He didn't want any
Bro,
problems with that 7'5" alien.
bro had 4 rebounds as a center.
In all them minutes, 4 points, 4 rebounds. And it's not like he just
Crazy.
had a bad game 7. It like, bro, you had
No,
a
no.
bad
That's
you had a bad
that's
series.
yeah, that's consistent. That
Yeah,
was
bro.
consistent. He
Yeah,
didn't
bro.
scratch 20 not one night.
Bro, you had a bad series, and what makes it worse is the fact that he only took 2 shots in game 7 when your partner, there is no way. Let's just say I'm Chet, you're SGA. There is no way that I know going into a game 7, I don't have AJ Mitchell, I don't have J Dub. There is no way that I'm going into this game saying I don't have to help SGA win this championship. There's no way I'm not leaving everything I got to. That don't mean we're gonna win, but I'm leaving everything. I'm like I'm leaving everything out there. I was listening to Shannon Sharp. He said I'm gonna shoot all the bullets and I'm gonna throw the gun. We emptying everything we got.
Especially from
Chet,
7 feet.
Chet Holmgren quit. He did not empty anything. He quit,
He was
and that's
shaking.
and that's the worst thing. I think that's the worst thing you can say about somebody in professional sports is that they quit. And then he goes into post game and he goes. Actually, I think it was the next day. He goes into like the exit interviews or whatever, and he starts talking about we. No, bro, it's you. You are a max player, and that's what. And this is what because I immediately I was like, we got to talk about Chet. Chet's a max player, and he went out there and gave you 4 points, 4 rebounds. Here's what I think, and this is the most prevalent thing. I don't think Chet is a bad player. I just don't think Chet is a max player. And that's the problem.
Right.
They paid him as a max player coming off the championship last year. A max player, in my determination, and the way it used to be, now it's a little different. Everybody kind of just gets a max for no reason whatsoever now. And I am mad at it. If they're gonna give you a max, obviously take your money. But from the GM perspective, it used to be the superstars got maxes: Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, etc. You might have a guy, the Tracy McGrady's. You might have a guy that, like the guy slightly below them. They're not making as much money as Kobe Bryant's making. They're not making as much money as LeBron is making. They might still have, let's say Kobe breaking 25. Powell was probably making 16, 17, but he ain't making Kobe Bryant money. The
Yeah,
problem now
facts.
is everybody just comes up and everybody's like, oh yeah, you get a max, you get a max, you get a max, you get a max. No, bro, you got a max player is for that guy. A max player is some if you don't average 20, you are not a max player in today's NBA.
Agreed.
Me personally, if you don't average 25 plus in today's game, you are not a max player.
And then on top of that, and I'm going further than that. You got to have at least average 5 assists and at least 4 rebounds. Like
Yeah.
you
We
got
got to
like
we take all that stuff in together, right?
1.2.
But here's the biggest thing, and this is why this is the problem that is really the problem with Chet, as I mentioned. When we talk about a max player, what is a max player supposed to do when somebody gets hurt?
You said what? Say it again.
What is a max player supposed to do when somebody gets hurt?
Take over.
What is a max player supposed to do when other guys leave the team?
Take over.
That there lies your problem. The reason that they gave Chet Holmgren and he made All NBA this year, another part of why the voting sucks because Chet Holmgren is not an All NBA level player.
That means All NBA.
He was All NBA. Some of that is because some guys don't make it because of the game requirement, but that's why some of these things are going to be faulty because you're going to go back and look at it. And let's say after Chet retires, you're going to go back and look at it and it's going to say Chet was a 2026 All NBA player. And that's going to be the same year he gave you 4 points and 4 rebounds and shot 2 shots in a game 7 and left his homeboy hanging. It's going to be the same game. And that's the problem. Chet is not a max player, bro. When players get hurt, you've got to up your game. What did Shea do when J-Dub and AJ Mitchell got out? He said, okay, I got to shoot the ball more.
Yep.
Like, this is what happens when LeBron was by himself in Cleveland in 2018. What did he do? Carried them boys to the finals. 51-8-8 in game 1 of the 51-8-8 in game 1 of the finals. Probably wins that game if J.R. Smith don't have that blunder. Those are max players. Like what does Kobe do when Shaq gets hurt or when Shaq fouls out in game 4, which we're also going to talk about that later. When Shaq fouls out against Indiana in the finals. What does Kobe do? Closes the game out. These are what max players do. They step up when the moment calls for us to be extraordinary. That's what a max player is. You're supposed to be extraordinary. You're one of the 5 there's typically only ever 5 to like 7 superstars in a game at one time.
You know what's crazy?
That is a true max player. That, like, you are one of the 5 to 7 people on the planet that I expect you, when things go bad, you're going to at least give us a chance. That doesn't mean you're always going to win, but you're going to give us a chance. If Chet Holmgren was a number 1 option right now, what do you think that team's record would be?
They wouldn't be in the playoffs. That's sure. You know what's crazy? Isaiah Hartenstein had a better game than him. It wasn't by much, but he had a better game.
And that's
a better the first series option. At that.
We saw what he just did as a second option because he was a second option after, let's see, J-Dub got hurt in game 2. AJ Mitchell got hurt in game 3. So game 4, 5, 6, and 7. Chet Holmgren, you were the number 2 option. SGA needed some help. Where was you at? The Spurs realized they didn't have to worry about Chet. They said, we're just going to keep blitzing Shea and make him shoot all these tough jumpers because we know ain't nobody here to help him. Case and Wallace tried. Caruso tried. Hartenstein tried. But none of those guys are supposed to be the scorers. Chet Holmgren, they paid you like a max player. Step up.
And Caruso kept him in the damn series.
Everybody, and that's what I'm saying. Everybody tried. Everybody tried to do something, except for the 7'2" dude that you expected to do something. The one you expected to do something is the one that didn't do nothing.
He didn't do anything.
And that's the problem. He ain't no max player. And that's the thing with the NBA now. Everybody just is given a max contract. Like Jalen Duren is about to get a max contract right now. And I think Jalen Duren is phenomenal. I don't think he's a max player in the NBA.
Jalen
Duren from the Pistons. I don't think he's a max player.
I don't think he's did enough to be a max player.
Evan Mobley, I think he's a solid player. I don't think he is a.
Ain't no way.
I don't think he's a tier 1. But that's the thing. These guys are gonna just. It's like that's just the way the NBA is now. It's similar to the quarterback market in the NFL. Like a guy comes up and they instantly like, bro. only Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Matthew Stafford should be at the top of the line. Joe Burrow. Trevor Lawrence, he had a great year this year, but he got that contract before that year even started, and he hadn't proved anything. And Trevor Lawrence was making more money than like all them dudes. And what has Trevor Lawrence ever done, to earn that contract? Now, this year, he did something and he progressed. So I want to give him kudos. But I'm just using that example. Like, they just pay dudes because it's like they feel like I'm next in line, so I'm supposed to have the max. No, bro. If you ain't a max player, you don't get a max. And that's the problem. Ant-Man should have a max. Giannis should have a max. Jokic. Let's see. Steph Curry still. Kevin Durant still. LeBron could have a max if you put him on a 1-year deal only. He's just his age. But obviously, LeBron in his prime is going to be on a max. But those are the kind of guys on max. Those are max players. Everybody else, like the rest of these dudes, should not be. Cade Cunningham, that's a max player.
That's a max player.
Jamal Murray, like that's not a max player.
Mm-hmm.
He's a fantastic player. But if
a max though,
if Jokic is making 60, Jamal Murray should be 35, 40, but he shouldn't be in the 50s near Jokic money.
Agreed.
That's how these contracts need to work, but that's the problem. And it's just like Luka Doncic, obviously max player. Those are max players. Everybody else don't need to be on a max contract.
Agreed.
But hey, it's what we're in now. Everybody just gets the full max these days.
Yeah.
But Chet, you better go get in the gym. You gotta go and earn. You gotta prove that you're worth that contract. And here's the thing, and I've always felt this way. The only difference now is that he wasn't able to hide. The only difference between this year and last year is that last year he could hide behind J-Dub because J-Dub was healthy. This year he couldn't hide behind J-Dub because J-Dub got hurt. And then even AJ Mitchell would have been there as he was in the Lakers series, but then AJ Mitchell got hurt. So now, bro, it's only SGA and you. So now you got to do something. You can't hide no more. And what happened? Folded like a cheap tent in a snowstorm.
Yeah, man. Chet, you was MIA that whole series.
Gotta be better, bro. Gotta be better. So yeah, man, I can't stand Chet Holmgren. Next up, let's talk about it. I made a post a couple weeks ago about Kobe Bryant. I'm like, people need to stop disrespecting my man's name. Like, if you have
that's been going on for a while.
I know. Like, if you got a preference, I understand everybody got different preferences. So it's like, yeah, but you can uplift somebody and not have to throw dirt on somebody's name. But a lot of people like to throw around this term of robbing on Kobe when you talk about what he did with Shaq. Kobe Bryant was not a Robin. It was just simply Shaq was so dominant. You could put LeBron in his prime, Michael Jordan in his prime. All of their numbers would be less than what Shaq's numbers look like. There's also simply that Shaq has finals MVPs. Sure. There's also playoff games before the finals where they might not get to the finals if Kobe Bryant was not Kobe Bryant. It was just that once you got to the East matchup, the clear advantage was Shaquille O'Neal. Mm-hmm. In the West, you had Tim Duncan and the Admiral. And you had all these other teams that kind of had better plans to guard Shaq. And so Kobe had to be more dominant. But once you got to the finals, the East, Philly, the Dikembe Mutombo, he didn't have an answer. The Pacers, they didn't have an answer. Who they played the next, and who else they played? They played the Pacers. They played and the Nets. The Nets for sure didn't have an answer. But I'm just gonna give you all these numbers. These are before the finals get here. Shaq in 2000, 30 points, 15 rebounds. Kobe 21, 4.5 rebounds. That one you could say Shaq. Shaq was balling, right? Without question. That was MVP Shaq. 2001 though.
Right, what Kobe had? What Kobe had again?
What you say?
What did Kobe have?
Kobe averaged 21 in 2000 in the 2000 playoffs. Before the finals, he averaged 21. In 2001, Shaq averaged 30.4, 15 rebounds. Kobe averaged 29.4 and 7 rebounds. That's
like,
not
bro, like
That's not a Robin. Just simply because
People
like Shaq
kill
is
me,
7 foot
bro.
tall, he's gonna get some rebounds too. But like Kobe was doing the exact same damage. Kobe doing the exact same damage. 2002, Shaq averages 27.7, 12 rebounds in before the finals get here. Kobe averages 26.6 and 5.8 rebounds. Numbers are quite the same. This is 1A, 1A, right? 2003, they don't win a championship this year. But 24.7 for Shaq, fit 14.8 rebounds. Kobe Bryant, 27 points per game, 5.1 rebounds. So now he's averaging more points per game than Shaq. 2004, Shaq was hurt up, off and on. He only averaged 21, 13. Kobe now, and that was just a very weird year. That's when they went and got Malone and Peyton, and then Kobe's at 20 and 4 points. But when you look at those numbers I just gave you, besides the first year when they went in 2000,
wasn't that the case? That was Kobe's case too, right?
what you say?
Was that Kobe's case year?
You mean like 04?
Huh?
Maybe 04, 05, yeah. It was one of those 2 years.
But he was also off the court a lot.
Yeah. 04, 05, one of those years. But yeah, so you look at those, we just look at those three finals, those three years they won a championship. 2000, without question, Shaq was dominant. The next 2 years, Kobe Bryant is on the same level. It's just when you put the stats side by side, you only show the final stats. And yeah, Shaq had a major advantage, so it was easy. But leading up to that, and then there's also moments, obviously, Kobe had 48 and 16 in a playoff game.
And then on top of that, he was still young. Like he was,
oh yeah,
like we talking about someone who just entered the league.
Yeah, but he had what, 40. So he had 48 and 16 in a playoff game. What happens when I mentioned Shaq fouls out in the finals against the Pacers, and what does Kobe do? Take the Lakers home. Like there's countless times where it's like, so like to call Kobe a Robin. My biggest thing is like if you put Michael Jordan in his prime, LeBron in his prime, they also would have been Robins if that's what you're going to classify as a Robin, because that's ridiculous. Outside of the first championship, to classify him as a Robin is ridiculous.
And I never hear that rhetoric when they talk about like Magic and Kareem. I never hear that rhetoric.
Sure don't.
Like ever.
Sure don't.
It's so crazy how when it comes to Kobe, that's what they want to do to him. That's what they want. That's how they justify him. That's how they classify his legacy. Just crazy to me, man. It's crazy.
They pick and choose for sure. Yeah, Kareem won 6 titles. He won 5 with Magic as his point guard. He won another one with Oscar Robertson as his point guard. Most people have Kareem as the third best player. I'm not going to say most. A lot of people have Kareem as the third best player based off of his accolades. But why doesn't that come into play when you talk about Kareem? He played with the greatest point guard of all time and Mr. Triple-Double. Y'all don't bring that up. Many people argue in the 90s, Scottie Pippen might have been the second or third best player in the world. They argue it's probably Michael, Olajuwon, Pippen. They don't bring that up. In LeBron's case, I will say a lot, especially LeBron haters. They will talk about all of his teammates, but they will talk about all of his teammates. But yeah, man, I just don't understand like why when it comes to Kobe, like people just try to like smear the greatness. And so it's just like, bro, if you got a preference, if a preference is LeBron, cool. If a preference is Mike, cool, whatever it is. But it's like we ain't gotta like act like Kobe was not him again. Like listen to those numbers. Shaq is averaging 30, Kobe averaging 30. Shaq averaging 29, Kobe averaging 29. Like they're at this exact same point. It's just that Shaq is a center, and so he's gonna average the double digit rebounds. But if that's what you're gonna call a Robin, as I mentioned a couple times, Michael in his prime would have been a Robin with Shaq. LeBron would have been a Robin with Shaq. He was just too physically dominant.
And it's dumb to not because he has so many mismatches, it's dumb to not feed the man. Like,
Yep.
and that's how basketball was played. It was played from inside out. Nowadays, played from outside in. But like back in the day, like that's how they play. It's feed the big man, feed the big man, feed the paint. Like you would have been dumb as hell not to feed it to Shaq if you had an easy bucket every time Shaq got in the paint.
Yeah, it's all and it's also yeah, Shaq was fantastic. I'm not trying to take anything away from Shaq. Um, but Kobe was also who was getting the ball at the end of games when they needed buckets? It wasn't going to Shaq.
Wasn't Shaq. Shaq wasn't bringing the ball up.
No, Shaq
Shaq,
wasn't. But like at the end of the games, you didn't want Shaq with the ball because they were going to hack a Shaq him because he couldn't go to the line and make free throws. So it was like Kobe got to go and finish the game because if he gets the ball, we're definitely going to foul him or Shaq that is because we want him to shoot free throws. Like we got to stop with the match. So like that Robin point, I just needed to dispute that. And then we talk about the rest of the disrespect. Like we just got to stop. 12-time all defensive team, 9-time first team all defense. Like
Tracy
averaging
McGrady.
35 in the hardest scoring era in the history of basketball. Like we got to stop, guys.
Tracy McGrady be killing me too. Tracy McGrady, when he be talking about if I had Shaq, I would have won too. Like, bro, you only saying that because Kobe not alive to like tell you to shut the fuck up, bro. Like, oh God, bro. Yeah, this topic always pissed me off. I had to stop listening to him because I go down a rabbit hole. But
Yeah, man. I just like, yeah, man. We gotta like look at them runs Kobe was going on and what I hate the most about the Kobe argument is that when you look at when you talk about dudes prime, most people's primes they had good teams. When Kobe was at his absolute apex, his team stuck.
bro, I say this all the time.
Kobe from 2003 to
I don't care.
2010, I would say it was probably like his absolute apex. Although I would also carry that to like 2013. He was so fantastic. But at his absolute apex, 2003 to like 2010. 2003, that team started shifting. And now you start having problems with Shaq. '04, they bring in Karl Malone and Peyton and ain't what, but '05, '06, '07, they suck.
Bro, and then people forget who he had to go up against.
Yeah.
Like he had to go up against a super team in the Celtics.
Yeah.
And his team wasn't nowhere, bro. His team was nowhere near as talented.
Nope.
When you had Rajon Rondo, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, KG, Perkins, like you had, bruh, like
James Posey off the bench, Eddie
bruh,
House,
like
Tony Allen.
I don't care. You put anybody other than Kobe, like you put Tracy McGrady on that team and tell them to face the Celtics, they lose.
Yeah, they don't win.
You can't put anybody on that team other than Kobe and get a dub.
Absolutely. Kobe Bryant was one of one.
I don't think. And that's just that's
and to me, he also faced the toughest competition of anybody in the history of basketball. Look, when you go look up who faced the most, who faced and who beat the most 50-win teams in the history of the NBA, I believe Kobe's number one on that list at 25.
I believe Kobe isn't he like, I wouldn't say he the only one. He has some crazy stat where it's like he dropped 30 on every team in the NBA.
40.
It was 40.
He's dropped 40 on every team but the Lakers, obviously. Like bro went a month averaging 40.
I mean, yeah.
Bro scored 62 in 3 quarters, and they asked him, "Do I want to go back in to score more?" He said, "Nah, I'll get more later." About a month later, bro goes and drops 81. Different level of and that's another thing we talk about. Bam's 81.
Level of killing,
or Bam's 83. 83 is 83. But if you watch both of those games simultaneously or back to back, You could say one is more legit, and one is more like I'm hunting to get points.
He's just nasty. Like it's not even basketball. It's
Nah,
just
most
nasty.
skilled player of all time. The absolute that yeah, man. We gotta stop playing. And again, y'all gotta remember that Wild Wild West. Especially when you talk about 2008, 2009, 2010. Like there was a year that
Mhm.
the 8th seed in the West won 50 games. Which and Kobe was the number 1 seed, which means his reward for being the number 1 seed was playing a 50-win team in the first round. That also means if everyone in that conference wins 50 games, that means every round you got to play a team that won 50 games. First round,
Mhm.
got to play a team that won 50 games. Second round, got to play a team that won 50 games. Conference finals, got to play a team that won 50 games. Likely in the NBA finals, got to play a team that won 50 games. Like by every metric, bro, we just gotta like, bro, like if you want to say just you disagree, you just say what your preference is. I got you. I'll move on. I ain't gonna fight anybody on their preference. We all got preference. But I'm gonna fight you if you start talking reckless and acting like bro is not a basketball god. Now we're gonna now we're gonna have to spar on this. We're gonna have to talk about this.
like like uh like what's the name? Oh, what's his name? White
Nigga,
chocolate. Who always talk about Kobe not even good.
yeah, white chocolate. He got he
He pissing me off, boy.
he just straight. But see, for him, for me, I understand it from his point because he's just salty that he couldn't beat Kobe and the Lakers.
Yeah.
Like so,
I know
like
exactly what it is,
so
but
like
it's like
so like for him, he's hating from personal like experience of like I couldn't beat this dude, so I hate him. So I'm not gonna give him any credit. That I like that I can respect because it's not like in his actual mind, he know damn well Kobe Bryant was him, or he wouldn't care that much that he couldn't beat him.
yeah,
But it's people like Nick Wright that are go on TV and say, "Oh, Kobe Bryant was never the best player in the world."
what are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Like you should never be able to like all the mics just like all the mics in the world should just never work again. If you say something like that, they should just never work for you. Like they should just know you said something stupid that they should just never ever work again in
Because it
front of
isn't
you.
true. Like before it was LeBron, it was Kobe.
Yeah, for like a for like at least from at least at if at least I would argue I could argue from 2001 to I could argue from 2001 to like 2013. Now, those last couple years, that 2012, 2013, I can understand that argument for LeBron as well up in there. But from 2000, well, I can, but from, I believe his apex is '03 to 2010. But I can make an argument for any year from 2001 to 2013. And I think it's definite from 2003 to 2010. That
Hmm.
7 year period, there's nobody better than Kobe Bryant from 2003 to 2010. There's nobody on the face of the earth better than Kobe Bryant at the game of basketball.
No chance. But yeah, that's my Kobe spiel. We love you, Kobe. We miss you.
We're gonna make sure there's no dirt on that name, boy. We got you on that one. And then we got one more hoops topic before we get into the biggest football news of the summer. I'm sure y'all know what that is,
Woo!
but so we'll get into that in a second. But lastly, all right, Brevin, name a player who would be an all NBA caliber player in today's game if they happen to play in today's era. So obviously previous eras, a guy that whose skill set was a little too soon for the NBA.
Okay. I have I had a few that I thought about. This is actually kind of difficult for me. Um, but I think I have some names that we probably haven't heard in a long time. So I'm gonna start with a forward who used to play for the Hawks. His name was Josh Smith.
Josh Smith.
Josh Smith, to me, I feel would be he he would be a max contract player the way they're giving out max contract nowadays because he can shoot. he was athletic. He could dunk. He could take you off the dribble. And he was a dog. Like he had that dog mentality. He was like always in your face. Like didn't back down from nobody. And I feel like if it was today, I feel like he could be a vital piece for somebody.
Reminds me of I don't think he's quite the defensive player, but his offense and his offensive game's a little better. But think he reminds me of like Aaron Gordon with more of an
Yes.
offensive.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like a bigger Bridges. Um,
Miles Bridges.
Miles Bridges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and yeah, and they're both lefty.
Uh-huh. Yeah. But another one I was thinking, and I'm not sure if this counts because he was kind of the man for a team. He was kind of the man, but I would say ISO Joe Johnson. Joe Johnson was nice. You put him on an island with anybody, he can get a bucket easy. And especially I feel like the way defenses play nowadays, where you can't really tell, you can't make contact, you can't really touch, or you can't really like put your hands on them, and no hand checking. I feel like Joe Johnson would be able to eat up a lot of defenders who stepped in front of him.
ISO Joe,
Uh,
his game is definitely suited for today's game.
yeah. Who else? Do you remember Danny Granger?
I remember Danny Granger.
Danny Granger, I feel
He
like
couldn't stay
what
healthy.
I know he couldn't stay healthy, but I feel like he was also like he was a LeBron style player. Not LeBron, but like in terms of like passing and facilitating. But like
Yeah.
he was big and he can like shoot, he can handle like and he had like a little post game. Danny Granger, I feel like could be a valuable player on a team just for how big he was. Also, he was kind of streaky, but I feel like he was pretty good on the Pacers. And that's
Yeah.
why I was kind of hurt when they broke that team up. Oh yeah, when they broke that team up, that was kind of like because they went downhill after that. But yeah, I don't know. Danny Granger was nice to me too. But we got some honorable mentions like Al Jefferson.
Yeah. Here's mine. Here's mine. And I think he'd be an all NBA. I think he would dominate today's game
Yeah, who's
because
that?
it's the kind of player everybody's looking for. I think his game was just his game was 15 years too early. Lamar Odom.
Lamar Odom.
If
I like
Lamar
that.
Odom played in today's
I
game,
like Lamar.
I think Lamar Odom would average 20, 25, 7, and 7 easily.
Yeah, Lamar, and if
And
it's
in a
him,
starter
it's
and in a
good
starter
for
role, I think he'd average even more rebounds than that. He'd probably be closer to like 25, 10, and 7. Lamar
Yeah,
Odom was a 6'10, was a 6'10. I don't want to say he's a point forward, but he was a 6 because he like
he
he could
moved that rock.
he could pass and stuff, so like we could put him as a point forward. But he had like guard, like he had a guard handle. He didn't have like
Mhm.
a 6'10 big guy. Like Kevin Durant has like a scorer's handle at that size where it's like great handle to get to his back. Lamar Odom had like a Rod Strickland kind of handle at
Yeah.
6'10.
Mhm.
Like when you
Back.
talk about dribbling package of guys that are like 6'10 and taller, he has the best package in the history, the best dribbling package in the
Mhm.
history of basketball, in my opinion, of guys that are like 6'10 and above. And you bring that to today's game, and with his length, his ability to get to the rim, the finesse, the quick twitch that he had, and he was lefty, lefties are always like smooth and whatnot. Um, and he almost made an all-star year one year with the Lakers in what 20 was it 2010, 2011? One of those years he almost made he was almost six man of the year. Um or he was six man of the year, but he almost made the all-star game.
Mhm.
Um but yeah, man, LO. I think Lamar Odom in today's game would be a perennial all-star, and I think he'd be an all NBA player.
Yeah.
Like the trajectory, Jalen Johnson's a better defender, but I don't think Jalen Johnson's offensive game is as good as Lamar Odom's offensive game was.
Wonder.
And Jalen
Yeah.
Johnson just averaged like, let's see what Jalen Johnson averaged. Because Jalen Johnson just had a crazy year too. But I don't think he's as good offensively
And
as
Lamar He can shoot a little bit too.
Yeah, especially if he got hot. Yeah, Jalen Johnson averaged 22, 22 and a half, 10, and 8. Yeah, I think you bumped them points up for Lamar to about 25, but yeah, about 10 rebounds, 7 assists. Yeah. He'd be an
Yeah.
all he'd be a max player in today's game, in my opinion. Like without I'd be like 100% certain in that. Like if he was coming out in this year, if he was coming out in this draft year, I'd pick him over Debanta
Mm-hmm.
with that skill set that he had.
Imagine.
Imagine that.
Hey,
So yeah, let us know in the comments who y'all think would be
yeah,
players that
who y'all think would be able to take on this new age NBA? Who you
yeah.
think will be?
Yeah, let us know who y'all think y'all got as
Yeah.
some role player, like good / role player dudes that like they were solid at their time, but right now you think they'd be getting busy in the league and they'd have a much bigger name. Let us know. And then our last topic of the day, the biggest news of the NFL offseason: Myles Garrett has been traded to the Los Angeles
Woo woo!
Rams.
Myles Garrett, baby.
The move happened. I immediately texted Brevin. I said the Rams just got Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett, baby. Hey man, I love it, dude. I love it. Even though, like I told you, I'm gonna miss Verse. Miss him a lot. Upcoming young player. But when you have a chance to get Myles Garrett, you pull the trigger. Kind of just like that Luka trade. When
Yeah,
you
but that
got
was
the opportunity to get a player of that caliber, you pull the trigger.
10 times out of 10.
You pull the trigger. Man, yeah, it's so exciting. I'm telling you, he even got my boy thinking about coming back out of retirement.
You
If
think
he
Aaron
come
Donald coming
back
out of
out of
retirement?
retirement. If he come back out of retirement, baby.
No,
Aaron
that's
Donald, you can do it.
that no, he could absolutely do it, but that's too OD. We don't need that in the NFL.
Woo!
We don't need that in the
The
NFL.
quarterbacks wouldn't know what to do.
The reason that LeBron and Kobe never was on the same team, or
They will break the NFL. The
yeah,
NFL will be broken.
yeah, we don't need that.
Oh my God.
But
But yeah,
I
no,
love the move for the
exciting
Rams.
though.
I love it. Myles Garrett to me is the best defensive player on the planet, hands down. I can argue he's the best player on the planet. Um,
Mhm.
the same thing you could have done with Aaron Donald when he was in the league. Myles Garrett, I can argue right now is a top 10 greatest defender of all time right now, and he still has a couple of 3, 4, 5 years left on these tires that he said, and he can do even much more with his career. Obviously, he's the all-time sack leader for a single season now. Um, they shored up their secondary a little bit. They got Trent McDuffie. They got Jalen Watson. McDuffie got to get more so back to the form he was 2-3 years ago with the Chiefs, but still an upgrade over what they had. I think Jalen Watson also an upgrade of what they had, although I think Jalen Watson is a little up and down. But with all that said, the DB's only got to cover so long if the quarterback's on his back. So Myles Garrett. And this is going to be the first time pretty much ever. There's a couple years where they had some success in Cleveland, but it's the first time ever Myles Garrett is going to get to go into a game knowing there's a very good chance he's going to have the lead for a
Mhm.
large portion of it. And he get to just pin his ear back. He gets to pin his ears back and just go hit quarterbacks.
Mhm.
That's what makes him getting the sack record so special was that he got 23 sacks losing the entire season.
Yeah, exactly.
Typically you get sacks when you're in a game where it's nip and tuck or your team is winning and you could just go hit the quarterback. Because when you're losing and when you're losing by the amount that they did, like you're out of the game. So it's like teams are running the clock to just end the game. And he was able to get 23 sacks. What's going to happen now when in 12, 13 games when they're winning and they have a lead at the end of games, he gets to not only now he gets to go make game winning sacks, he gets to go make just sacks at the end of games that help that add to that. Like I know he's excited to add to see what he can add to that team. And they got that rest of that D line is good. They got Byron Young.